guess the last thing I wanted us to talk about was, and we kind of brushed on this a little bit with um, talking about Anakin's situation, but you kind of had two big uh, identity reveals or big reveals in this episode with Marrok and however you say his name and Anakin. Um, so where do y'all fall in terms of how those were handled going into this, or at least playing out through this episode?
I think they did kind of not so great a job of Merrick. At least I think they could have done like a lot more than just like killing
You
him
wanted
off
it to
pretty
be
much.
Star Killer, didn't you?
I really did, honestly. But like, I mean, I didn't see that actually happening. It would have been cool though, like But
I think Merrick was all you were going to get.
yeah, and like I don't know. I think that's a little disappointing because it would have been interesting to like see what he could have been or like who he was like as a person. I guess like reveal his identity or something.
He wasn't a person.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
he was at one point.
at one point, yes, yeah, not anymore though, because obviously the Night Sisters. So,
Well,
yeah.
it's interesting because they don't. It's. I feel like a lot of Star Wars fans have the tendency to just assume when someone's identity is not revealed immediately that it's got to be somebody significant, and
Yeah.
That's our small universe problem.
Rian Johnson, famously made the mistake of like with Rey just being like, "Oh yeah, J.J. Abrams set this up to have a big reveal for her," and then like I'm just gonna crap on that and say like she's nobody, which in a sense that could have worked, but the way it was handled after the fact was terrible. So, but in this case, it's like I don't necessarily mind the way they did it. It was just kind of like they do sort of set up for it to be somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The way they handle it, because they make him sort of mysterious. And then, Ahsoka slices him through the chest and he's just kind of poof, Night Sister zombie. And you're like, oh, okay.
A little anticlimactic, I guess.
It is a little bit.
I was expecting a lot more out of it, and it just like just ended right there. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's a little disappointing. But I guess they did it so they didn't have to have like some like big character reveal or something like that. Just
I think I'm okay with it, just because like they did need to get rid of him in a sense. Just
he was a side character anyway. Yeah.
Right. They did need to get rid of him because you didn't really need 3 dark side force users against 2 per se. So, if you're going to get rid of him, especially this early on, I'd rather it be somebody that's not important. It doesn't matter, really.
That's fair.
Instead of somebody like if they're going to have a Star Killer, like I want it to be a big thing, not somebody that dies in the 3rd or 4th episode of a 8-episode show.
The only thing when the whole Star Killer rumor was started after, I don't know if it was episode 1 or 2 or whenever.
I think it was after 2.
But
that's when they had what's his face, the guy that always Star Killer.
Yeah, the guy that played Star Killer, he was in the
the credits.
Which is as good of a voice actor as he is. He was probably just playing some minor role in,
right.
But I think the only way I could have seen Star Killer working in story, and I think this actually would have been a really cool concept to tackle, was this whole idea that Ahsoka was Anakin's apprentice. Star Killer, or I guess Galen Merrick was his official name, was Darth Vader's apprentice. So you get this dynamic of both were sort of former apprentices of Darth Vader.
I think
you could have played this dynamic of, they both realize at some point that, their master, had his issues, or they find a way to relate to each other because of their master, and they work together to accomplish that. But I think just adding Star Killer in there with how overpowered he is would have jacked up a lot of things. Plus, she should not have been able to beat him that first duel if he was as powerful as he was in the game.
He would have, if they were going to do that. I would rather them have not had Balin's skull in it. Yeah. Like him be the Balin skull.
Yeah, basically.
That's fair. Yeah.
But That's
But
why
you
I'm
also
okay.
have to basically retcon large portions of the Force Unleashed games to be able to make it
Right.
work. Because
Right.
in the
Which
original plot of the first game, he dies.
Yeah.
And in the second game, he's a clone, and he's a good guy at the end. So it's like you either have to do the alternate version of the first game where he becomes basically Darth Vader and he becomes the Emperor's apprentice, or you have to do what you do in the alternate ending of Force Unleashed 2, where another clone kills him and kills the good version of him, and then that other clone version is the new Star Killer. So
Mm.
I think, I mean, obviously that's not
I don't
canon
know.
anymore, so it's not a big deal. But
We're all over that cloning thing though.
Yeah.
Like I mean, that's what Palpatine is all about. So
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, we're never gonna honestly, my honest opinion at least, we're never gonna get Star Killer into the movies because I mean,
nah,
like you guys said, he's just way too overpowered. Like
he's too overpowered. He would have to be way dumbed down, and I think that would make people more mad than just not having him.
100%.
yeah,
I mean, like it would be cool to maybe get like his own like standalone movie or something that's like kind of like based off the game, maybe just like have him in real life form. I mean, that'd be kind of, I guess, cool. Maybe if they did
it's
that.
a pretty interesting story on its own, though. Like it's
Just do the game in a movie.
not the second one so much, but the first one is.
The second one was a little
like, hey, we
far-fetched.
need a reason to make a second game. Come up with something. Okay, cool.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it if they made a third one, to be honest. So I wish they would.
What do you do from there, though? I don't
I don't
know. Because you also have to think about it in the game, in the first game, he's largely responsible for helping the rebellion to start, which is kind of what the rebels in the show
The whole
Rebels
show
did.
is about.
It's like you're basically retconning another retcon of a retcon, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah, that may be
it
a
would
little
have caused
far.
a lot more problems than they wanted to mess with.
I think so.
There
I
was
think so.
actually I saw about like Anakin being in the World Between Worlds, and I guess for the next episode, people were saying that apparently he's going to mention how he has another apprentice, but like, how much?
I avoid leaks and rumors at all costs. I'm not
I
getting.
mean,
into that.
there's been leaks that there's going to be a fight scene between Anakin and Ahsoka on Mustafar, where Ahsoka kind of takes the place of Obi-Wan, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, see, no, I don't see that.
There would be a revolt if that happened.
Yeah, that would be.
Well, it's not meant to take the place of the Obi-Wan Anakin thing.
Supposed to be like a what if almost, I guess, probably.
Well, it's kind of meant to be like Ahsoka coming to terms with what Anakin was and how it's not her fault. And
now I could see them do something good with that, where maybe she's able to go in and see like what an alternate version of the situation could have been, because like there's people that theorize, what if Ahsoka was around and had went to Mustafar?
Well, she may have been the one that fought him and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So, but that's all. Again, that's kind of what if. But we may see it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a myriad of things they could do with this episode. I think that's why I'm so interested, because, like, I think episode 4, did enough to keep me at least somewhat excited for the rest of the season. And then I think
that's why it's got 100.
Yeah, it's got this huge reveal at the end where you're like, okay, this next episode's going to get real.
I think I think that's why it's got 100. Not necessarily because the episode itself was good, but because of what the interest it created and what it set up for the next one.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just hoping it's not just a fan bait where they just do it to get people to keep watching. That it's actually got some substance to it.
Could be.
I don't know.
But,
yeah, hopefully not. I do like the little Darth Vader theme that they put at the end, though. Right when the credits.
Yeah. That was a good point.
Yeah.
And it said it on the subtitles. It said Darth Vader theme.
Yeah, Darth Vader theme. Yeah, so I mean that's interesting as well to think about, like what they could do with the next episode too, involving that.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what Ahsoka is going to have to deal with. If that's what it truly is, if it's truly about Ahsoka coming to terms with what happened and how things went down, then that's what she's going to have to confront. It's going to be a episode 3 or second half of episode 3 version of Anakin before he was truly Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which I think it's
compelling.
If I remember correctly, I think that's the version. Well, obviously CGI version, but CGI version that we've got at the end of that episode 4. He's got the long hair.
Yeah.
At least his face was younger this time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, that's one thing I find funny about that though, is that like a lot of people were like hating on like the CGI for making him look younger, but then people
I
were
thought he
also
looked
hating
great.
on. I thought it did too. I thought it looked awesome, but like
Yeah.
everyone was hating
This
that he
one, yeah.
looked like he was older in Obi-Wan. So it's like you just
Right.
can't please.
Some fans you can't
Can't win.
please.
No, not at all.
No, I thought he looked as close to the Clone Wars version as he could have looked.
Yeah.
Would have been really cool if we saw him in like his Clone Wars armor too, like kind of.
Yeah.
IRL.
But as close as Episode 7 came to the end of the Clone Wars and him turning in Episode 3, I think that's what we're going to get. It's going to be a Episode 3 Mustafar version of Anakin before he's Darth Vader.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my prediction.
I feel like it's a very solid prediction, though. I feel like that could be very well, like, actually happen. So it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Huh. It's intriguing. I'm excited.
Johnny doesn't like it.
I don't see how feasible that is. So, like, what do you mean when you say like pre? Yeah, explain it a little bit more, because that's.
I just mean like before he got cut up by Obi-Wan.
But do you mean he's
that
already
version of Darth Vader
Sith at that point?
Yeah,
So you think he's
like
the
in between,
Sith
like him, like
version
meeting
of
with
him?
her.
in between him killing Mace Windu or cutting Mace Windu's arm off and Mustafar.
Yeah,
So I know there's not a lot of time there. But
I don't think if it's him projecting himself in the Force, then it's going to be how he is at the end of Return of the Jedi. So it's going to be him post like his son, him saving his son.
Well, we'll see.
Going
That's
through
not
all
what I
of
saw at the end of Episode 4. That's not what I see in that he's projecting at all. But
I just see like him,
and we may get a progression. We may see
yeah.
Anakin from when Ahsoka first met him all the way until he died. Who knows?
Well, but are you talking about just in appearance wise, what he comes across?
No. I just mean like,
because obviously, like if you think about it, at the end of Return of the Jedi, when they did the remastered versions, they added the Hayden Christensen version in, and it was him from Episode 3, and so it shows like the most. I guess it shows the version of that person that is like that was the good Anakin before he turned to the dark side. So
we'll see. It's interesting. We'll see. I think it's definitely gonna have to be Ahsoka fighting to come to terms with it. I think.
I can see both sides. I can see it going both ways. I mean, again, like just for me, like the fact that like Darth Vader's theme came on like at the end kind of makes me like lean towards more on Drew's side.
Something's gonna happen.
For that reason, maybe. But I don't know why they would just like throw in that theme song there at the end without like it meaning something, Because
they were playing the Force theme or the Anakin's theme, essentially. Anakin and Padme's theme. And then it changed to Darth Vader's theme.
Yeah. So
interesting. I did not catch any of that. Y'all are a lot more astute when it comes to the music than I am. I feel like the music I always miss.
But it means something though. I wouldn't catch it if it didn't mean something.
I agree. I just don't have the ear for it, I guess, that y'all do. I don't know.
I read the subtitles.
I catch all the other stuff.
I notice you turn the subtitles off on my Disney Plus every time you watch an episode.
Sorry.
I'm deaf, so I gotta have subtitles on. So it's like
yeah. Well, we usually do too nowadays. But
my mom says it helps you read.
Yeah.
My mom attributes that to us being good readers.
Well, I read a lot of books in my life. That's what I attribute to it. But anyway. Well, cool. Yeah, I think that's all we got tonight. And but I appreciate y'all coming on and sharing your takes on these episodes. I think they're very interesting in their own ways, but I'm at least somewhat optimistic going into the rest of the season.
You better curb some of that optimism because every time you get excited, you get let down.
Yeah, well, Mando season 3, Obi-Wan, Book of Boba Fett. Yep. Yeah, it's been rough.
It's when our expectations are the lowest that we get something good, like episode 3 of Ahsoka.
Or Andor.
Like, oh man, this is gonna get bad, and then Andor.
Andor, my expectations were like in the gutter, and I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. I'm like, that was nice for once.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Well, that's all we got for y'all. Everybody that stuck with us the whole time, we thank y'all for listening. And, y'all, if you liked what you heard, please give us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. We really like some feedback on what exactly you didn't like, so we can continue to hone our skills a little bit. But thank y'all for listening in. Like, subscribe, share, whatever. Get the word out if you liked what you heard, and we will see y'all next time.